साधकों के चिंतनों में मेरी आस मेरे श्वास तुझ में ही समाए। साचा रूप साचा रंग मन में दिखाए, प्रकाशित हृदय में ईश्वर।
Hari Om. We'll chant the invocation. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu Mavit Vishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We'll chant verses 21 to 30.
कार्यकारणकर्तृत्वे हेतुः प्रकृतिरुच्यते। पुरुषः सुखदुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते। पुरुषः प्रकृतिस्थो हि भुङ्क्ते प्रकृतिजान् गुणान्। कारणं गुणसङ्गोऽस्य सदसद्यो निजन्मसु। उपद्रष्टानुमन्ता च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरः। परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तः देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः। य एवं वेत्ति पुरुषम् प्रकृतिं च गुणैः सह सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि न स भूयोऽभिजायते। ध्यानेनात्मनि पश्यन्ति केचिदात्मानमात्मना। अन्ये साङ्ख्येन योगेन कर्मयोगेन चापरे। अन्ये द्वे सः श्रुत्वान्येभ्य उपासते तेऽपि चातितरन्त्येव मृत्युं श्रुतिपरायणाः यावत् सञ्जायते किञ्चित् सत्त्वं स्थावरजङ्गमम् क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञसंयोगात् तद्विद्धि भरतर्षभ समं सर्वेषु भूतेषु तिष्ठन्तं परमेश्वरम् विनश्यत्स्व विनश्यन्तं यः पश्यति स पश्यति समं पश्यन् हि सर्वत्र समवस्थितमीश्वरम् न हि नस्त्यात्मनात्मानम् ततो याति परां गतिम् प्रकृत्यैव च कर्माणि क्रियमाणानि सर्वशः यः पश्यति तथात्मानम् अकर्तारं स पश्यति
Yeah. The last time, the verse that we were doing talked about Prakriti and Purusha as being beginningless. And also that Prakriti has gunas or modifications. But Purusha is without any gunas. Guna atit. It has no modifications. This superimposition that we have over the reality which doesn't allow access to understand what the truth is, what that real thing is. Because Prakriti is sort of covering it as if it is. It is covering it. Like if you have blank space and suddenly a big square appears there. And within the square, there are many small triangles, rectangles, circles, various types of figures are there. So whole space seems to be divided into all those different parts. But actually, space is not divided. Space is homogeneous, one. But this appearance over it, which appears divided into so many different forms, that is the superimposition over the reality. Now, this superimposition, when it happens over the reality, then we go through the cycle of Janma and Maran, Janam and Maran, Janam and Mrityu, birth and death. Cycle starts. Joy and sorrow, success and failure, various types of all the opposites begin to play up the moment this superimposition happens on it. Now we are trying to overcome sorrow, we are trying to overcome ignorance, we are trying to overcome limitations, death, this opposite which is created. Now we are struggling to get out of it. How to get out of sorrow, how to get out of various problems that are ailing us. So we keep on trying to improve upon the superimposition. Understand this. We are trying to improve the superimposition. But howsoever you improve the superimposition, the opposites will not disappear, because that is the nature of that world, nature of that superimposition. So you will constantly feel limited within yourself. Howsoever you improve the superimposition, you say technology has improved so much and etc. Our efforts are always outwards within the superimposition. We are trying to understand the reality within the purview of the superimposition. It doesn't strike us that this which we are dealing with or we are dwelling in, this is a superimposition on the reality. This is not the reality. By studying the superimposition, you cannot know the reality. By studying the superimposition, you can only understand that this is a superimposition. So the moment you understand it is a superimposition, and it will not lead me to understanding the truth, understanding the reality, understanding the true happiness, experiencing it, immediately you will become detached from it. So you understand this? You will become detached. And that detachment will ultimately lead you towards that revelation. Not understanding, revelation. The truth will reveal within you. So as long as you are seeing the snake in place of the rope and you are only relating and dealing with the snake, the rope will not come to your cognition, to your apprehension. You will not understand it, you will not know it. So you have to discard the rope, the snake. You have to get over the feeling that this is a snake. Stop relating to it, stop dealing with it, stop pursuing it. Mentally, we are attached to it, we are engaged in it. We are engaged in the world, we are attached to the world. So therefore, the superimposition doesn't go away because you are attached to it. You are feeding it through your mind. You are feeding it constantly. You are constantly dwelling into it. So by understanding that happiness is not there, but here, beyond this superimposition, happiness not there. The reality is not there. The moment you understand the emptiness of the world, hollowness of the world, so you withdraw, you disconnect, you detach, and therefore your mind stops pursuing the world, attaching itself to the world. You understood its emptiness. The best of us, wherever you are stationed in the world, you may be a multi-zillionaire, you may be a millionaire, you may be a middle class, poor or poor man. We all are pursuing, we are all chasing something. You may be a powerful emperor in some place, but you are also pursuing something. We are constantly pursuing. What are you pursuing? Even the emperor is unhappy, suffering, discontented, agitated. He has his problems. A middle class man has his problems, the poor man has his problems. But poor man thinks at least middle class ho jaye to I'll be happy. Middle class thinks if I get into upper class I'll be happy. Upper class thinks if I get into super upper class I'll be happy. But they are all chasing. If you're not happy now, you will be happy never. So therefore, the moment you understand that you are chasing an emptiness, you're not chasing anything which is substantial. You're chasing an emptiness. Will you continue chasing it? No, you will not chase it. You will immediately turn your direction introvert. Immediately you will seek it elsewhere. So, but this involvement with the world doesn't go away easily. Even though we listen to the knowledge so many times, we have heard Vedanta over the years, but our extrovertedness doesn't get checkmated. It doesn't get checked. Our ego continues to function. We continue to identify with the ego. Only when these are checkmated, It takes time. Therefore, knowledge takes time to seep into, remove the obstacle, and it takes time for the truth to reveal itself. You may load yourself with information, but yet, if these two functions continue, your attachment to the world and your egoistic attachment to yourself, if it continues to function, you are loading yourself with information, but it is not going to lead you towards understanding of that because you are still caught up with the superimposition. So, therefore, this superimposition that we are dwelling in, so very slowly, the mind begins to react to knowledge. Knowledge comes very slowly, like the sunrise. You cannot suddenly make the sunrise. It's very glimmer of light comes, then slowly, more light comes, then more light comes, and suddenly the tip of the sun appears, and slowly it rises, and then it becomes bright light. So, knowledge over a period of time works on your mind. It is not how much you know of the information, how many books you have remembered, how many things you remember and you accumulated. But it has not helped you to dissolve your ego. It has not helped you to checkmate your extroversion. So, therefore, the reality, instead of getting covered by a materialistic cover, it gets covered by a spiritual bed cover. उसमें लिखा हुआ है हरि ओम हरे राम हरे कृष्णा, all this is written, but it's still in superimposition. Your extroversion has not been checkmated. So therefore, when we understand that reality is not the function of the ego, knowing the reality is not the function of the ego, you are asserting at the level of your ego, I want to know the reality. You're not dissolving the kartritva bhav, the sense of superiority. These are not getting dissolved. There is a sense of doership. There is a sense of knowership. So this is to do with the superimposition, with the cover, with the ego. So over a period of time, over many janmas, they say, it need not take janmas. It can happen very suddenly also. When it starts dawning, as you go through life, as you go through various experiences, and you study this knowledge, and you try to understand life, put in your effort, put in your struggle, and slowly it dawns on you the empty nature of the world. The nature of the world dawns on you, and you understand that happiness is not within its circumference. So therefore, then you become detached to it and you start looking for it elsewhere. See, in WhatsApp exchanges, one or two messages sometimes come, very interesting messages come. So one of them said, don't push the door too hard looking for happiness. It opens inwards. You might have come across this saying. Don't push the door too hard. It opens inwards. So we are struggling so hard trying to find happiness in the world. We are struggling so much. We have so much expectations, so much hopes, so many desires that one day we'll be happy ever after. So your mind does not leave like a child clenches onto something. He has held some tablet in his hand and you want to take it away from him because it's dangerous for him if he eats it. So you want to take it, but his fist is quite tight. It's very difficult to open a fist of a child. But somehow you try to open it and take that tablet away from him. Similarly, we are clenched onto our egos very strongly. We are trying to push at the level of our ego. We are not ready to dissolve the ego. We are asserting ourselves at the level of the ego. The difference between a wise man and an ignorant man is only this, that the wise man is not attached to his actions, is not attached to the world. An ignorant man is attached. He has a kartritva bhav. He is attached to the actions. He is attached to the world, things and objects of the world. Outwardly, both are performing their actions. Both are doing what needs to be done. But inward, there is an inward disconnect in a wise man. He has established himself in the reality. He is moving towards the reality. He is acting in the world, but he is not attached to it. Whereas an ignorant man gets attached to everything he does. If he starts studying, he gets attached to study. If he starts doing karma, he starts getting attached to the karma, etc. He keeps on getting attached to things. Therefore, the superimposition keeps on getting stronger and stiffer, and you are not able to release yourself from it. A man of realization like Ramchandra ji, Krishan ji, Janak ji, they are very active. They are running a kingdom. They are participating in the world. But in them there is no sense of doership. Prakriti is expressing itself. They are not fooled by the Prakriti. They are not involved or connected to the Prakriti. They understand this is Prakriti. They are established in the Purusha. And Prakriti plays around them. So we have to understand this very clearly, that you are just playing with the bed cover, not removing it. Howsoever spiritual the bed cover may be, it's still a cover. Until the covering is removed, the bed sheet or the bed will not be revealed. So therefore, knowledge helps us slowly to dissolve that doership inside us. Hanumanji does so much, is capable of so much. He's so wise, he's so capable, he's helped Ramchandra ji in so many things. But there is no kartritva bhav in him. He is very clear that it is that supreme power which is functioning through him. He is not attached to his physicality. He is not attached to his materiality. He is established in that supreme reality. And then he allows the equipments to function. And they function magnificently, extraordinarily. But he doesn't get sucked into it, thinking that I am doing it. I am the achiever. I am the happy person. No, he is established in that reality. So therefore, stop pushing the door. The door opens inward, then open outward. So the moment through knowledge we are able to dissolve our kartritva bhav, we are able to dissolve our sense of wanting to be superior. See, these are the ways how ego functions. I am superior to you. I am better than you. That's what we want. We don't want that oneness. We are not moving towards that oneness. We are establishing the plurality. I am better. I am the best. So you are walking into the illusion. More and more you are walking into the illusion. You think I am the achiever. I am better. How to be better than others? So happiness never comes to you. Even the person who is best, he is not happy because he is always looking over the shoulder. Somebody is going to overtake him. And people who are behind, they are also not happy because they want to know when they can overtake that person. Everybody is chasing, running. There is no rest, there is no peace, there is no stillness. And unless there is no stillness within, you will not transcend the leela or the play of the world, play of the mind. Mind will constantly cover the reality and keep you involved in the play. So understand, Prakriti is beginningless, Purusha is also beginningless. Through Prakriti, if you want to go to the original cause, you can't go. Fathers, 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 fathers. It's endless. Son, 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 son. It's endless. There is no end to the cause and effect. But the difference between Prakriti and Purusha is that Prakriti is divided. It is manifested in form of gunas, qualities, and Purusha is one reality without any divisions. It's one. So that's the difference. So we have to remove this beautiful looking cover by disconnecting from the world, understanding the ego has no stand of its own, and happiness is not in extroverted pursuits, it's in the introverted journey towards the self. When you move towards the self, you the happiness, the sense of happiness increases. See, what is science doing nowadays? It is only beautifying the bed cover. It is not attending to the bed at all. It is only beautifying the bed cover. But howsoever you may beautify the bed cover, it's still the cover. Still, people are struggling. Still, there is sorrow. Still, there is suffering. They're not doing anything to remove the bed cover. They're only beautifying the cover. Until they realize that happiness is not a function of this opposites, the world of opposites. It's not a function of this. Only then they will become wise. Otherwise, their wisdom, they're lacking that wisdom to understand. They think happiness or comfort or fulfillment can be achieved through these extroverted achievements. No, karma you do for the release of your vasanas, not to increase your vasanas. The journey is inward, it's not outward. Yes, Bharat.
Sir, would another difference between spirit and matter be that with matter you can break the shackles of cause and effect, right? And transcend it.
Yeah, that is Prakriti is cause and effect. So when you break the shackles of cause and effect, then you go beyond. And how do you break it? By understanding it's a futile chase. Not necessarily continuously chasing. You can break up a thing into cause and effect as much as you want. Still, you will not transcend cause and effect. Joy and sorrow, you will not transcend joy and sorrow. Joy is transcending joy and sorrow. Success is transcending success and failure. So, cause and effect, if you are involved in the cause and effect, there is no end to cause and effect. So, we have to transcend, we have to disconnect from this play. You function. It is not that you disconnect from the action. Action will happen because that's the Prakriti. That is part of Prakriti. A flower will bloom, the river will flow, the tree will grow. This will happen. But there is no Kartritva Bhav in them. It's just nature is playing. Only Kartritva Bhav is there in the human being. Animals don't have Kartritva Bhav. They're just expressing the nature. If they are carnivore, they are carnivore. Herbivore, herbivore. There's no kartritva bhav that I have to do this, I have to become a better tiger than the other person, I have to, another tiger, I have to become a better horse than the other horse, I have to become a taller tree than the other tree. They're just, nature expresses itself. In Krishna, nature expresses itself and so beautifully expresses. Not, but there is no kartritva bhav, there is no identification, there is no attachment. That's the difference between Krishna and other. That's called the Virgin Mary. Virgin Mary means the purity is established. The disconnect is there. The detachment is there. Now you may say, but how is she a Virgin Mary? She has a son, Jesus Christ. How are you saying? That is what he's saying. Karma doesn't pollute you unless you connect with it, unless there is doership, unless there is attachment. The physical body or the mind and the equipments are used to exhaust vasanas. But we are, instead of exhausting vasanas, we are multiplying vasanas. We exhaust vasanas. That's why Krishna is known as Mahayogi. Mahayogi means he's just exhausting. There's no multiplication. Nature is playing itself out. Is disconnected. Now, when will we disconnect? Why will we disconnect? You will only disconnect when you understand you're on the wrong road. Otherwise, why will you turn back? If you still have hope, expectations, then you think the destination may be a little, another kilometer, another couple of kilometers. So you keep on going. Like that, you have covered thousands of miles. But the day it dawns on you that the destination that you're trying to reach is not on this road, immediately you will stop the car and turn back. Your attention, your identification will stop on that and you will turn around. So this is called wisdom. A man who understands this, he is a wise man. He may not have read too many books, he may not have heard too many things, but he's understood he's on the wrong road and needs to change his direction. The moment he knows that, he is a wise man. But the car will still move, things will still happen, but he is inwardly disconnected from it and he is moving towards the reality. So once you disconnect from it, see, if there is an outlet and an inlet in a let us say bucket, there's an outlet and there's an inlet. The water is flowing out, but it is also getting continuously filled. So the bucket never becomes empty. But if you close the inlet, the water will still exist and it will still flow, but it will not increase. Slowly, the bucket will become empty. So we are here to exhaust our vasanas, understanding that this is the play of Prakriti, this is the play of nature, superimposition. This doesn't lead us to true happiness. It keeps us caught up in an unending chase. So the moment you understand that, then you will disconnect from that. You will not increase your vasanas. You will still continue performing your actions, but only you will be exhausting it. So that person is called a yogi. Krishna is Mahayogi. Only exhaustion, no multiplication. And as you exhaust, many great things will happen. Much more greater things will happen. But you will not connect to it because you understand that on your way back, you may come across many beautiful gardens and malls and whatnot. But you will continue to go back and back until you go back and find your origin, your reality, your truth. You will go back. So you will act. No doubt you will act. You will continue to act. That's why they have shown this characterization of Krishna. He is there everywhere. If there's a dance party, he is there. If there's a war, he is there. Politics, he is there. Household, he is there. But that means, is he very worldly? No, he's not worldly at all. He's very spiritual. Wisdom cannot be seen from the outside. A person may be very rich and be a yogi. Person may be living a very ascetic life. He may be yogi or may not be a yogi. If he has not disconnected and not started on the inward journey, he is not a yogi. He is just wearing a dress of a yogi. Yogi can be anywhere. You're living your life to when your knowledge becomes complete, full, then you're allowing Prakriti to express itself. It doesn't harm you. It doesn't pollute you. It doesn't corrupt you in any way. Wisdom, you're totally protected by wisdom. You're totally established in the reality. But before that, we have to take caution. We have to be careful. that the mind doesn't play its tricks. And so as we keep on gaining knowledge, slowly, slowly it becomes very clear to you. Slowly, slowly clarity begins to dawn on you that yes, happiness is not there, it is here. Why am I going on pushing the door? It's not going to open. Slowly, slowly you will realize the futility of your egoistic assertions, egoistic chase. Your ego will, you will begin to dismantle your ego. Your ego will begin to dissolve. There is nothing like ego. It's just a superimposition. It's just a जैसे कहते हैं ना बहुत अकड़ में रहता है, बड़ा अपने आप को समझता है. And somebody behaves very uppity, as if he is a great gift to mankind. We also get amused by it. Look how egoistic he is, how assertive he is, how he thinks as if he is some extraordinary human being. He thinks like that. He may be nothing, but ego makes him feel as if he is better than you. He wants to feel like that. He may be nothing. And somebody may be extraordinary qualities, yet he is very humble. That's why the qualities that we did about who is what is knowledge. If you have knowledge, automatically humility will come into you. Because you're disconnected. What are you egoistic about? किस बात की अकड़ है? God wants your play to end, He can make it end in a second. Whoever you are, in a second, your game is over. You understand the futility and the stupidity of identifying with the ego and asserting your ego. You become very humble. Humble doesn't mean you start touching everybody's feet. Humble means you understand that I'm not the doer. You're not striving for some superior state. Krishna may be superior, but he has no superiority complex. He doesn't feel himself superior. So therefore, knowledge slowly, slowly will come on to us, and we will recognize that once we recognize this, then the truth will begin to come into our cognition, come to our recognition. We can do the 21st verse. कार्यकारणकर्तृत्वे हेतु प्रकृतिरुच्यते पुरुष सुख दुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते कार्यकारणकर्तृत्वे हेतु प्रकृतिरुच्यते पुरुष सुख दुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते. In the production of effect and cause, Prakriti, matter, is said to be the cause. In the experience of pleasure and pain, Purusha, spirit, is said to be the cause. Cause and effect. In the production of cause and effect. What is reasoning? Reasoning is nothing but understanding cause and effect. So reason. This reasoning is within this purview of the world. कि ऐसे करोगे तो ऐसे होगा, वैसे करोगे तो ऐसे होगा. This is reasoning. And this is cause and effect. Understanding cause and effect. Why are you angry? So I understand why are you angry? Cause and effect. What has caused you to be angry? How not to be angry? How to create a cause so that the effect is no anger. All this is to do with cause and effect, and it has to do with the Prakriti. Prakriti gets angry, Prakriti gets happy or whatever because of a cause and effect. There is a certain cause which is creating an effect. Science is studying cause and effect. But can it achieve a state which is beyond cause and effect? कहते हैं ना ये again in your WhatsApp exchanges, be happy without a reason. You are looking for a reason to be happy. Unless this happens, I will not be happy. Unless that happens, I will not be happy. Why? Why are you creating your dependency of happiness on that? Your happiness is independent of that, but you have got so involved in it. Unless India wins the cricket match, I will not be happy. And if India doesn't doesn't win the cricket match, I'll be very unhappy. Okay, that's your choice. So you keep on putting conditions before your happiness. You're not finding unconditional happiness, unconditional love, unconditioned state. Constantly within the purview of Prakriti. You're trying to reorganize Prakriti in such a way that you become happy. But the happiness lasts for a little while, and then again something happens and disturbs it. So you're constantly trying to reorganize Prakriti, rearrange things. If I get away from this set of friends and I make new set of friends, then I'll be happy. If I quit this job and go to another job, I'll be happy. If I go away from this and get transferred somewhere else, I'll be happy. And when you go there, some other thing happens, then you say if continues. Cause and effect will never lead you to that perfect state of happiness. Cause and effect will lead you to the understanding that cause and effect cannot lead you there, and therefore you get detached, you get disconnected. You dabbled with it so much. Science is constantly dabbling. They've gone to the moon, then gone to the Mars, then they'll go to another galaxy, then they'll do something else and something else. So what it was 200, 300 years back, it's a totally transformed world. Even last 50 years, it's a totally transformed world. 50 years back also there were no mobiles, laptops, nothing. Now the newborns don't understand how you live without it. They cannot live without they cannot think of life without a mobile phone, without a laptop, with all these modern gadgets. They cannot think about it. Like a little fellow went to his grandfather and asked, "Grand, how would you live without electricity, without mobile phones? How would you manage to live your life?" He says, "Beta, just the way you all are living life without love, without compassion, without kindness, without goodness. That's why we used to live like that." You have replaced all those qualities with this technological advancement. And you think this will fill up your gap and this will fill up your world. You're actually moving into the world. They are getting you more and more embroiled in the void. Cause and effect, cause and effect. Cause and effect belongs to Prakriti. Time, space, causation. These are aspects of Prakriti. Reality has no time, reality has no space, reality has no causation. It is happy unconditionally. It is loving unconditionally. It exists unconditionally. There is no cause and effect. Cause and effect for us is child is born of the parents. Parents themselves had parents. They had parents. There is a cause and effect. But for Purusha, for reality, there is no cause and effect. That you do like this, then that will happen. That will no. It is existing at all times, forever, beyond time. It is here and now. Karma can only give you a fruit which is temporary. Karma is temporary. Karma will give you a fruit which is temporary. Maximum it will take you to heaven. Heaven is also not permanent. It is only there till your merits last. Then again you come back. So where do I find that happiness? So understand this cause and effect. Yes, as long as you are living in this world, as long you're dealing with your samsar, you have to have cause and effect. You should know how to drive your car. You should know how to stitch a cloth. You should know how to cook your food. This is all cause and effect. Karma has to go on. If you do not know how to drive your car, you'll be handicapped. If you do not know how to run your computer, you'll be handicapped. But to think that this level of life, this will lead me to that supreme happiness, that is not true. Purusha, Prakriti will keep you involved in cause and effect, which will give you temporary experiences, temporary outputs. It is not. Now, the next line says, in the experience of pleasure and pain, Purusha is said to be the cause. Purusha is what? Purusha is that consciousness, that supreme consciousness. That supreme consciousness is pervading all this creation. An unconscious man who is not conscious of his consciousness, he doesn't experience anything. You can, under anesthesia, you can cut his abdomen also. He will not feel anything. The feeling comes because of the presence of consciousness. This is in the experience of pleasure and pain. If the cause and effect is wrong, then you will feel pain. If it is right, then you will feel pleasure. If you overcook the food and eat it, put too much salt, you will feel distasteful. You'll not like it. If you make it rightly, then you will like it, you will enjoy it. In the making of food, cause and effect is there. You should know how to make it rightly. But in the experience of it being tasty or not tasty, this, unless you are in a state of consciousness, unless you're conscious, you will not experience the taste or distaste of it. So if you have to experience you should be conscious. The more your consciousness is awakened, the more superior your experience becomes. However, good literature it is, but if a man is tamasic in his state, he doesn't understand these high-flown words and high-flown phrases that you're talking about. He is not conscious of the meaning of it. So therefore, even though you are giving him and explaining things to him, he doesn't connect to it. He's not, because his consciousness is not awakened. His intelligence is very gross. So as your consciousness awakens more and more and more, you experience that supreme consciousness, that unconditioned state of consciousness. That is the evolution. That is the evolution of a human being. A stone doesn't experience anything of the world. It just exists. If you hit a hammer, it will break. If you sculpt it and make a statue out of it, it will turn into a statue. This is called cause and effect. This belongs to Prakriti. If you sow a seed, it will grow into a plant. That is cause and effect. But the experience of that cause and effect, translating itself into a conscious experience, that I am experiencing the sight, I am experiencing the taste, I am experiencing the pleasure or displeasure. This is there because of the presence of consciousness. If consciousness is not there, you will not experience anything. So you have to awaken your consciousness. The more you awaken the consciousness, the more you evolved you are. Now, how do you awaken the consciousness? How do you make it grossified? The more you dwell into Prakriti, the more you create vasanas with reference to Prakriti, the more gross the mind becomes, more inert it becomes, more plant-like it becomes, and ultimately it becomes like a mineral, like a stone. So in Vedanta treatise, you must have read this segregation: mineral man, plant man, animal man, human man, God man. These are nothing but raising your level of consciousness to higher and higher levels. A plant cannot understand the world the way an animal understands. Animal cannot understand the world like a human being understands. And a human being cannot understand the world like a God man understands. Why? Because in a God man, the consciousness is fully blossomed, fully unfolded. So he connects to that reality. He understands the reality in its pristine, original, unconditioned state. Because consciousness is not intercepted by Prakriti, intercepted by vasanas. So he has a clear vision of the reality. But as the curtains start falling in front of the reality, it becomes dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. Then you become a human being. If the vasanas are too strong, you become an animal. If they are even stronger, then you become a plant, inert. And they are even stronger, then they become like an inert being. No consciousness. Consciousness is there, but it is not self-conscious. Stone is not self-conscious. Plant is little bit conscious. It has some consciousness. It grows, and if you prick it, it feels sensations. Animals are far more conscious than plants. They're very sensitive to sound and taste and heat and other things. Very sensitive. You can see them running around and doing so many things. They're very conscious. Human beings are far more conscious. But in human beings, as you develop into higher realms of inner consciousness, you become more and more godly, divine, until you become a Buddha, a Christ, or a Krishna. So, in the experience of anything, how do you experience a thing? Now, he says, in the pleasure and pain, both the spirit is said to be the cause. Now, here you must understand, when does pain arise and when does pleasure arise? Pain, suffering, agitation, sorrow arises because of presence of the desire. You have a desire that India should win, should win, should win. So you're always excited, always agitated, restless. And suddenly India wins, and there's a momentary excitement for a day or two, a lot of excitement. And then it dampens away. This desire-based actions or desire-based state is always agitated, excited, or agitated. Never peaceful. It's never calm. Sthita Prajna mein it says, he is not excited by joy and agitated by sorrow. That doesn't mean he is not joyful or he doesn't experience the sorrow, but he is not agitated. He is very blissful, but that state of blissfulness is not agitating him, not exciting him, but he is very blissful. He is calm and blissful. Desire, the absence of desire causes happiness. The presence of desires causes agitations. A man who wants to smoke a cigarette, he has a desire for a cigarette, he is very agitated till you don't give him a cigarette. Once you give him, the desire goes away. When the desire goes away, he becomes calm. He thinks the calmness is coming because of the cigarette, so he replants the desire. Understand this very clearly. He replants the desire. He doesn't stay in that state of calmness. He doesn't attribute his calmness and blissfulness to the reality. He attributes it to the object. And therefore he replants the object, the desire for the object, and becomes again agitated. So he goes through the cycle of joy and sorrow, joy and sorrow, joy and sorrow. A beautiful verse in the Sthita Prajna says that it is not the enjoyer of objects, but the desirer of objects who is unhappy and agitated. Not the enjoyer of objects. So if I go to Rashtrapati Bhavan and have a good banquet there, or I go to White House and I enjoy the hospitality there, I can enjoy it. But if a desire comes into me Why don't I shift into it? When will I be invited again? Will I ever be invited again or not? Why don't I also have a place like this? The moment desire comes, I'll be agitated. Enjoyment did not give me agitation. Desire gives me agitation. As you keep on having more and more stronger and stronger desires, stronger and more desires, the more you are falling away from the reality. You go to Rashtrapati Bhavan, you go to Switzerland, you go anywhere. If circumstances, your destiny, or actions take you somewhere, Prakriti takes you somewhere and plants you somewhere, no problems. But the moment you plant a desire there, your problems start. Your problems begin to sprout. It is not the enjoyer of the object, but the desirer of the object who is in problem, who is agitated. So as our desires begin to fall away, as our egoistic assertions begin to fall away, we realize that we are becoming more and more peaceful, more and more happier within ourselves, more and more blissful. Our happiness is not conditioned happiness. Only because of this I'll be happy. Only because of that I'll be. We are blissful. Sometimes people ask you, why are you so happy, looking so happy today? What happened? Sometimes you don't know how to answer that. You say, I'm happy. I'm just happy. What happened? They cannot understand that you can be happy without a reason. Just happy. Something must have happened. When inside you are free of these attachments and egoism and desires, you reach a state of calmness, blissfulness, happiness. But if you are caught up in desires, you go through a vicious circle of joy and sorrow, and more sorrow and little joy. For those flashes of joy, you are ready to go through that trouble and that suffering and that chase. Happiness, love, knowledge, freedom, these are all your inherent nature. They are not outside you. You're looking for them outside. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares for me. I have too many restrictions in the world. I want to be free. I want to do whatever I want to do. You're looking for all these things outside. You're not awakening love. You're not awakening knowledge within you. You're looking for it from the outside. You're not realizing your free nature. You're binding yourself to so many objects and things and circumstances around you. Constantly binding yourself. Because of ignorance, because of delusion. You're so enamored by the play of Prakriti. You're not able to see the reality, not able to see the essence. Yes, Mahesh ji.
So when you search for happiness inside, effectively, are we saying that we work towards reducing our desires? Is that what is the path
Yes,
to inner happiness, to reduction
yes,
of desire?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay. Thank you.
Love is not a desire. Truth is not a desire. It's your nature. It will express itself. Freedom is not a desire. When you create a desire out of it, you create bondage. When you create a desire out of love, you create bondage and attachment because of attachment. Love doesn't have to be intercepted with desire. Doesn't have to be intercepted with desire. You're free. You're happy. You're good. Body may be affected, but because of our delusion, we are not able to see the reality. We are only going by the external happening or circumstances. That's what happened to Garudji when Ramchandraji and Lakshmanji were tied in the Nagpash, which was sent by Indrajit, and they happened to get tied by the Nagpash. Now, it's not easy to release yourself from that. It's a very tough thing, and the body slowly ebbs, the life ebbs out of you. Now, what to do? Ramchandraji and Lakshmanji are both caught in the Nagpash. The only antidote to that is to get Garudji to release these serpents which have got around them. So Hanumanji requests Garudji to come, and Garudji comes. He doesn't realize, he says, I cannot come without the Lord's permission, but Hanumanji gets him somehow. And he comes and he releases Ramchandraji and Lakshmanji from the Nagpash. Now, even somebody who is living next to Vishnuji, who is the Vahan of Vishnuji, he gets under this doubt, grave doubt. ये क्या रामचंद्र जी सच्ची में भगवान है? Everybody says that he is the Lord who has descended on the earth. Is he Lord? And that started agitating him, because if a doubt comes to you with reference to your beloved, or with reference to your teacher or guru or anybody, your partner, your friend, if a doubt creeps in, then your mind is never restful. It becomes very agitated until the doubt goes away. So he becomes very agitated and restless. Because the anchor of God, if it is taken away from you, the protection of a guru is taken away from you, it's a huge protection. When you start doubting, then the mind becomes very restless. So when he was walking back or going back to Vaikunt Lok, on the way he met Naraji. And Naraji asked him, Arey, Garudji, where are you going? Pranams, where are you going? But you look very upset about something. Something is bothering you, seems something is terribly bothering you. He says, yes, Naraji, thank God I met you. Please tell me, this doubt has come into me about Ramchandraji. Is he really the Lord? Is he God descended here? And this is his condition, that he's got caught up in the Nagpash. So Naraji smiled. Oh Lord, look at your Leela. Even people like him who's staying with you, even they get caught up in it. So Naraji, Shivji. So he went to Shivji, Garudji, and said, Shivji, this is, आप भी उनको इष्ट देवता मानते हैं, सारी दुनिया उसको पूजा करती है, but I am in a great doubt. A grave doubt has got into me. Shivji also smiled. He's also got caught up in delusion. He's also caught up in the snares of Maya. He's not able to see the reality because of an external circumstance. He's not able to see. So he says, you go to Kak Bhushundi in his ashram. Kak Bhushundi is the famous crow devotee of the Lord. Very famous. Very enlightened. You go there. Then Parvati, after he went away, Parvati asked Shivji, why didn't you remove his doubt? You could have helped him also. Why did you send him to Kak Bhushundi? He says, yes, I could have helped him, but his ego needs to be corrected. His ego needs a little bit of a bashing. When he goes to a crow, now he is a Garud, he is the king of the birds. When he is to go and beg a crow that please give me knowledge, please give me, then he will have to bow down his ego. He will have to let go of his ego. And unless he lets go of his ego, he will not get the knowledge. Going for a king to go to a crow, it's like a king going to a chandal and saying, please give me some money, give me knowledge, help me out. It is very demeaning for a king to go to a chandal and ask him, please help me out in this situation. But when he goes to Kak Bhushundi, the environment was so beautiful, so peaceful, so his mind started settling a little bit. And he actually went and bowed down to Kak Bhushundi and asked him for knowledge. And Kak Bhushundi also gave him the due respect thereafter for what he was due. And then when he did the satsang, and his delusion and his ego and his delusion went away, and then he realized the magnificence and the glory of Ram. So we miss out on the reality because we get caught up by the prakriti, by the external circumstances and situations. We are not able to see the reality because of our own internal obstructions, attachment and ego. So until these things are there, we are always deprived of that vision, of that state, which is given to us free, which is all blissful, all joyful, all knowledgeable. It is already there. But because of these intervening layers, we are not able to experience it. So through knowledge of scriptures, through satsang, slowly our ego, our sense of doership, our sense of attachment to the world begins to reduce. And as this reduces, the truth slowly manifests and reveals itself. So it takes time, but the process is slow, but it's very sure. One who follows it.